In this classroom tour video, we're going to be talking about the filing cabinet and all the things that I've got going on and things that you might want to consider in your resource room to just help keep you organized and make sure you have a place for everything. So obviously, for confidentiality reasons, I can't show you all the things that I have in here, but I can give you an idea of what I have. So the first section of this, these are all students that are currently identified or are on my caseload right now. These are kids that I am servicing. Then I have some forms, and these are just nice, pretty files. About the only thing that looks real nice in here of parent forms, teacher forms, checklists, rating scales, things like that. I try to keep a lot of copies in here or enough for the year or at least half of the year. That way I always have those kind of at a moment's notice. If I'm headed to a meeting and I need a checklist, here it is. If a parent asks for an evaluation and I need paperwork to give to the teacher or to send home, here it is. I've got it already copied, already ready. Then everything in the back, these are students who are in the referral process. So these are all students who are somewhere in that. Maybe I'm waiting on a meeting. Maybe all I have is initial paperwork. Whatever it is, those are their files, which will then later move up in that process. Now, you're catching me at a bad time, or I'm recording these at a terrible time. All these Post-it notes are kind of my self-made tabs. And at the end of the year, I go through and retab them, or at the beginning of the year, I go through and retab them. And it has the student's first name or first initial, last name, and then the due date of their annual. And I like that due date on there just so that if let's say it's October and you're at a parent-teacher conference, or it's October and there's been a behavior incident with a student or whatever, and you're sitting at a meeting or you're talking to a parent and you have that file in your hand and you're saying, well, I really don't know. Should we do a reevaluation? Should we reassess? What are we gonna do? You know that date. So let's say it's October and their annual is in November. You could maybe say, okay, let's try X, Y, and Z. And when we meet again in November, we'll review some of that, or we'll talk about that, or we'll see how that is going. But if it's October and you're looking at that and their conference isn't due until May, you can't wait until May to resolve that issue or to talk about that a little bit further. So that's what I suggest, just so that at a quick glance, you know who is due and when. An idea I have for next year, I'm not doing this right now. Right now they're arranged alphabetically, and that's all well and good, but sometimes then I'm looking for a student, I don't know where they are, I pulled it out for one reason or another. I don't know. I'm thinking about arranging them by their due date so that then all I have to do is look at the beginning and I know who's coming next, or I know I have 3 in March because all of my March are together, or all of my April or May or whatever. So I'll update that later, but that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Now, this little thing, I got it on Amazon a while back, and it has really been a game changer for me. I used to, in this empty space right here, and I still use it on occasion, but it's not nearly what it used to be. This used to be my catch-all. I would put things here I don't have time for. I'll get to that. I'll file that. I'll put it away later. And it just got out of hand. So now I at least have a system for all the crap that used to accumulate here. So in the bottom, these are files that I have made an extra copy of that IEP or of that school psych report that needs to go to their permanent record. And so I used to be very good about when I walked that parent out, I immediately went and put all of that right into their PR. However, COVID kind of threw a kink in things. And things weren't always done in person, so therefore I wasn't even walking a parent out, or I didn't have a signature, I didn't have a finalized IEP, I didn't have a lot of things because of COVID. So then I think I got a little lax, and so even if I did have a parent in front of me, I didn't always do some of those things that I used to be really good at. So instead I have this spot where then I can put those things that need to go to the PR. This then is things that I need to file, or copies of IEPs for me, things that I keep a separate binder. That's what this is over here, where all of my IEPs are in there. That way, if we're sitting down to talk about testing accommodations, I can grab this. If we're sitting down to talk about schedules and how many minutes this student's supposed to have or how many minutes that student's supposed to have, I can take my binder and it has all of my IEPs in it. But first, I've got to hole punch them and actually make sure they get in there, and that's where I throw them here. This is all the other random stuff that just needs to be filed. You know, maybe a parent writes a note. Maybe you print their scores from a test. Maybe the classroom teacher had a work sample that you thought was valuable, or whatever it is. Maybe it's an assessment that you get. This is just my other area so that I know that needs to go into their folder. So basically the third one is it's going to go to my binder. This one means it's going to go to my drawer. Sometimes I just shove it in the drawer. Sometimes it's like, throw it here. And this top one, we have a cover sheet that we have to send to our special ed secretary anytime we finalize an IEP or send a signature page. We'll have to send that cover sheet and say, and on it says, you know, was it an annual? Was it an initial? Was it a reevaluation? Did you add accommodations? Just things like that. And long ago, I was so terrible about sending these in. I was awful. And so then I thought, why am I making it so hard on myself? I'll just have a big old stack here and I can use them at any time. And other people on my special ed team know that those are there. They can come grab them at any time as well. So that's what I've got going on over here in my filing area. I've got things in a little bit of every place, but it works.